Live from Copenhagen, I'm Toby Hodges. This is the first 30. Welcome to a new era of the planing cruiser. So as we leave the marina near the capital here, you can see the old coal-fired power station there and the new waste-burning energy system behind it with a ski slope on the roof. Anyway, why are we in Copenhagen? Because I've been itching to test this boat since it was launched in January 2025 at the Düsseldorf Boat Show with a lot of fanfare, and we've been trying to get on the right boat at the right time. This is that first boat and it's well equipped, and I'm with the first Seascape dealer, Per Sederberg, here in Copenhagen. He's a Danish dealer and we've got a good forecast, got a couple of days on the boat, so it was a really good time to jump aboard here. It's now July, summer sailing in between the showers, and really test this out because we wanted a good breeze, we wanted to show what it does and to try, I guess, to see if Beneteau have managed to deliver on the concept that they would nearly a year ago when they announced this. So what do I mean by all that? It's a planing cruiser. They wanted to bring the fun back into cruising sailing. Beneteau has seen, you know, that cruiser market of yesteryear is dying out a bit and it's not being replaced with the younger generation. So key to that were a good new performance hull shape, Saint-Manard design, and keeping it lightweight. Since 2018, Beneteau bought the Seascape brand. If you didn't know Seascape before that, they were founded by a Slovenian couple of mini transat sailors, and they wanted to just bring sporty, fun sports boats to the market, and they did that with an 18, with a 24, with a 27, all of which are now available as firsts. And they now manage, so Andras Millehens manages now the first brand for Beneteau, and this first 30 is built in their Slovenian yard. So what they've done is brought their composite knowledge plus that of Class 40, IMOCA 60, Mini Transat designer Saint-Manard. He's brought his skills into this shape as well. So you've got a really nice relationship between designer and builder, and then Beneteau's put their trust in them to do that. And you may have seen when I did the introduction video to this from Düsseldorf, I did explain some of this, but another key to the whole project is making the boat affordable, entry-level pricing. What's affordable in 2025? Nothing. But this is as close as I think it's going to get at this size. So they wanted to offer it at €100,000 starting price. They've done that. They've kept it to that through that. We thought it might just be initial pricing, but they've kept it through that this year as well. And I think there's nearly 100 orders for this already. So yeah, I mean, getting the Beneteau's might, a financial might behind this to make it, you won't find another 30-foot new yacht at €100,000 really, and particularly one that could potentially bring the smiles of sailing that this one can. There we go, fractional spinnaker up, and we are shifting along again, very easy. Beautiful evening here. Some nice little puffs, some little waves on our quarters, but we are averaging 11 knots here. We only just put it up. See what she'll do. So this is the Beneteau first 30 experience. This is kind of what they promised me at the Cannes Boat Show last year when they talked about this boat coming out, and then Seascape, they went and built it to the design weight, just over 3 tons that they wanted to, and this is the result on the water. I mean, there's no tricks here, no gimmicks. The boat's sailing itself very, very stably. As soon as we put this Jernica up, we haven't stopped planing. And it is, I'm not driving very well, I can assure you, but the boat's just a lot of fun, and it's very, very easy. And that's what the whole concept was from the beginning, to put the enjoyment, the fun and the ease back into sailing and planing sailing, to sort of get hold of that cruiser racer market of yesteryear, and get people back into enjoyable sailing, fast sailing. You can see from the rooster tail behind me here and the quiet noise that we are planing non-stop, 15 to 20 knots of breeze, a little bit of swell, 2 of us on board. Lovely early evening here off Copenhagen, and we are sitting at 12 to 13 knots, and it is a lot of fun. Not bad. I love that whistling noise. We've got a fair amount of weed attached to our rudders as well, but it hit 13 knots and she just starts humming. Sun shines on the righteous out here. We've got a couple of lovely days really of mixed conditions, stronger winds, some waves, some lighter winds, some flatter water, and I mean, this is ideal summer cruising weather, isn't it? We've got probably 10 knots breeze, pretty flat water out here, and we're just going upwind, and this is upwind mode. We're doing between this early 6s basically, 6 at the moment, clocking 6.4 knots. And it's very, very easy, and Beneteau and Seascape wanted that. They wanted a fuss-free cockpit, one that's easy enough for a couple to go out and sail, and you can see that here. Tiller steerings, finger light. You've got 2 really deep rudder blades hung right up, so you've got a lot of control here. It's not overly beamy back here. The boat does heel quite a lot going upwind when it's all fine at the moment, but you'll notice when the pressure comes up a bit more, you get quite a steep heel angle on. That's where these good sturdy foot grips give you, they're your friends really. They keep you in the boat. Got a bit of a guardrail to hang on to, but from the helmsman's point of view, it's easy. I've got the German main sheet led right to hand here, and Traveller led right to hand, so there's the controls for me. You do need a second person really, unless you have an autopilot system engaged, but this one doesn't, to control your Genoa sheets because they're on your coach roof winches. I imagine there'd be a trick to lead those aft here. I should mention that the standard boat comes with a main sheet on that single point cleat in the middle of the cockpit, and that's on a bridle system, so a simpler system than this, which is more of a performance version to go for a Traveller track and a German-led main sheet system. So the main sheet's going from that block on the Traveller forward along the boom and back each side to each winch. And I think when you see the mainsail shape we've got, it really helps to extract the most performance out of the boat. And you feel it as well, so just a little puff of breeze now, the boat reacts to it, a little bit more heel on. So we're making the early 6s, and it's just nice, easy cruising conditions. We're having a lovely long upwind spell here. So this is what I'm saying, the boat will heel because it's powerful. And so we're playing with that heel angle. It's very easy, you know, to let the Traveller down as Per just did there, and then to power the boat back up. And it's the same with the Genoa as well. And it's really responsive. The boat points well, sailing at between 40 and 45 degrees to the true wind angle, and we are, as I said before, averaging around 6 knots. A little bit of downdraft from the plane going over, but it's a really fun boat to sail upwind as well. And it's, I know I said it's simple, but it's tunable as well. So you've got this Z-spars mast, 2 spreader, and it's quite nice and bendy as well. So you've got this good cascade system on the backstay, really easy to put purchase in there, bend the top of the mast, depower the main, and then from here you see the mast is pretty central. So I was looking at the mainsail and the Genoa sizes are very, very similar. It's a balanced boat. It's about 106% Genoa, I think. So you see it's got a nice cut on it. You can see underneath it, and it's led right inboard to these thimbles. So that means you see at the moment we're not hard in on that jib sheet as well. Again, that was to playing with the heel angle, keeping the boat just dropping off from hard pointing, because you point too hard it kills the speed a bit, but letting that off a little bit, coming down a few degrees, keep the speed up, and then when the wind is stronger, you know, this has got having that thimble there gives you that three-dimensional element, sheet it right far inboard, but then yeah, maybe using a barber, so we've just put this little line on the shroud base there to be able to sheet that further outboard when the wind is stronger. And this is what I mean about these foot braces being the helmsman's friend, because you do have heel on, so you do end up wedged against or even through those guardrails there, unless you depower it enough, you know, drop the traveller down enough. Perhaps those foot braces could be a bit further inboard, but I guess caters for shorter people as well, like this. See, this Genoa is on a flat deck furler system, which the Beneteau group like to use now on their performance boats. Brings the foot of the Genoa right down as close to deck level as possible. This one has the bowsprit. I'll find out if I say it has the bowsprit, because I've got a funny feeling that's optional. I know I should know that, but I think that is an additional extra. But obviously worth having for a boat like this, absolutely. Not only contains the anchor, but it, you know, got your tack point there for flying your Upwind sails from. More of an ideal of the heel angle from here as well. Lovely day for yachting out here. And that's got an upwind. I do. Just two of us on board, myself and Per, the first dealer for Denmark. And it's pretty lovely. We didn't know if we'd get sailing this evening, got 2 days on board. So get the kite out. So here we go. Proof again of the easy, fast sailing planing concept. On a day you'd think it's be marginal for planing. Well, here we go. After a long upwind leg, which is really lovely, sun's out, we put the masthead spinnaker up, and we are planing. So around about, what have we got, 10, 11 knots true. We're sailing at 145 to the true wind angle. And as soon as you get over about 8.5 knots boat speed, the hull releases from the water and you start planing. As you can see there, things go a bit quieter and then you just get faster and faster. But this is really lovely, because when we first started talking Beneteau and Seascape about this, I know they mentioned something like 13 to 14 knots true wind speed was the target to get planing. Well, we definitely don't have that, and we're still doing it. And there's 2 of us on board and I'm filming, so it's a pretty easy boat to get out here and have some fun fast sailing on. Really, really, yeah, inviting is what it is. I mean, this is what sailing should be. So, well done on proof of concept right here. You could literally just plane all day. I think it's the easiest boat to sail fast that I've ever done. Easy fast sailing. Easy planing. Hang on, I don't need to come up with a new Beneteau strapline, but wow, this is pretty cool. 13 knots wind, 9 knots, between 8.5 and 9.5, depending if there's any little waves, any little puffs. And this is my happy place in the push bit here. So as we approach our second day, end of sailing downwind, I mean, we've just, I don't know how far we sailed or for how long with this kite up, but it's a long time, and the boat has just been planing the whole time. You know, we've only got 11 to sort of 13, 14 knots true with current going with us, and it is this easy. I mean, I'm going to be repeating myself, but for design, the point of which was to make fast planing sailing easy again, fun, this is it. I mean, yeah, this is what sailing should be. Out in the sun, nice calm conditions, but still being able to really, really enjoy it. And you can see I'm not even trying. Wow, that was some pretty special sailing. Really, really lovely to get a couple of days of different conditions as well. Some strong wind, some light wind, a little bit of waves, flat water, and just really, really impressed with the sailing fun that this first 30 offers. That's what they set out to do. I mean, especially with that, you know, 10 to 13 knots, long spinnaker run with the masthead spinnaker, and we just planed the whole time. And that's what the boat, it's what they wanted the boat to do, and that's what the boat does. I mean, yeah, fantastic. Going upwind, really enjoyable too, especially in these lighter breezes. Down into the interior on this first 30, first thing you notice is this. You can stand up. Standing headroom and space. It's a cruising yacht. I know we go fast sailing it, but you actually have a degree of comfort in here in that you can spend time on board and practically cruise this vessel. And those are my first impressions, having spent a bit of time on the boat. Gave you a quick tour at the Dusseldorf show back in January when it first launched. This is that same boat, the first boat that launched. And really what you see is what you get, and that is using space really wisely. So you get a double cabin up forward, a sort of double cabin back there, and 2 sleepable saloon settee berths, a little chart table area, and a workable galley. And that is what you need. Oh, and of course, a proper heads. So yeah, it's got the key ingredients you need for you, your family, your friends, or whatever, to spend a long weekend, a week, or 2 weeks aboard if you want to. I guess where you come undone with that is a bit of stowage space, but you can add options in there, which I'll tell you about. So from aft here, yeah, you get a good size aft cabin. I mean, the way they've got this headroom in here is a clever feature because they've gone right down into the bilge here. So that cork liner, which is actually really nice underfoot. is right in the bilges here. The only place it raises up is in the saloon there, because that's where your keel bolts are, under there. But they've done it nicely. It's got timber trim on it. The sofas have, the settee berths have nice thick cushions on them. They're comfortable, nice backrests. This is not scant minimalism to get speed. You know, they've put some comfort in here where, I guess, the minimal that you need. You step up into this aft cabin area, and you've got a nice place here to sit, reclined against the hull liners. Excuse the noise. It's about to go sailing again. Yeah, I mean, you could lie a second person under the cockpit there. Bit coffin light though, so I mean, I guess if you had two in here, you could come at an angle. There's enough foot space there to go right under there, or you could have a couple of kids in here, fine. There is access right aft from this panel to the steering gear. You won't be able to see much, a little bit of daylight coming through below the swim platform. Yeah, to get at the quadrant or the twin rudders. Otherwise though, things kept simple. So you only got a little bit of hull liner here at the entrance, and then it's just straight onto the hull, painted hull sides. There's very little room under here, just enough room below that berth for a battery or two in that bilge space. And that is about it. A little opening porthole into the cockpit, and you can have a fabric wardrobe removable locker basically that goes on this bulkhead. Same again with the door, so you can have on any of the cabin or the heads, you have a magnetic door, which is really nice, lightweight, low noise solution there. So you have the same thing for the forward cabin or this aft cabin. The actual galley console area, I guess, is the same as the 36, this area here. I think I'm right in saying the only difference is you can have on the 36 an island unit in the middle. But this works well, double gas stove, a little bit of stowage beneath it, double waste bin outboard, nice big single sink, and a lift up work surface there to add to that fiddled area around there, and just a strap in there and a little bit of ventilation above. And there are a couple of lockers below, one for your cutlery in that drawer and another locker below that. You can also have an optional fridge below this chart table area, so that's a nice deep stowage, or can be refrigerated area. Otherwise, again, everything works well. It's nice and simple. Nice little instrument panel, access behind it, and then your lights here. Lights are quite nice as well. Indirect lighting in here. I don't know if you can see, we've got these saloon lights on, or you can just change it here to red lights for nighttime use. Floor level, well, lighting up the floor level, indirect lighting as well. And it's a nice place to sit. So nice long saloon berths, say easily, I'd say 6 foot long. I'll measure them up. And so you can sit with a good size stable table here, wooden table. You get 6 seated around that easily when the leaves lift up. So you imagine sitting in here after a day's cruising with some friends or family. There's plenty of space. Just got enough seated headroom up above here, and yeah, again, no liner on there, so you see where the indirect lighting is coming down on that. And then these saloon cushions and backrests work well. So those are just designed, there is some storage space behind there, so that's got the washboards in it, or you flip those over to give you full width. Can you do this with one hand? Full width room there if you are sleeping on them, and then you don't even have to take them off to lift the plywood base beneath and access stowage in there. Long, shallow stowage that goes into the bilge, and there's a roving bilge pump there for hoovering up any liquid that does get into the bilge, or indeed, yeah, in this area here as well, I guess. you'll see here how shallow it is. So there's your keel bolts just there. So only about 6 or 8 inches above those on the saloon sole. And then it's the same system used on the port side. No overhead hatch, but there is a powered light there which we're dedicated, so you can walk on board and put that on. And you've got the hull ports each side and these nice little slits in the coach roof. And moving forward, of course, you lose your headroom as soon as you stand up here, and then you do drop down again into the bilge of the forward cabin. Again, that cork sole, nice underfoot, but it's it's just all seated headroom forward of the mast base, really. And I believe you can shut this area off again. So here's one of these fabric lockers there. Again, magnetic door, just really lightweight, easy to use. And you can put that up on this side of the bulkhead as well. Construction is simple. So these are, you'll notice, just plywood bulkheads. First time I think on a seascape they've done that. Yeah, it's just a good size V-berth. One of the benefits of a more modern, fuller bow shape Sam Maynard design likes to use. It's not just for off-wind performance sailing, but it gives you a proper forward cabin. Ventilation and natural light through a big hatch above, and it's very little space underneath, just because that's where your water tank is, a little bit further forward. Yeah, I know Seascape and Beneteau work really hard to keep the construction as simple as possible, to be able to keep the price at this sort of entry level and engaging, starting at 100,000 euros price tag, which is quite difficult to do in this day and age. So yeah, it's an infusion built boat, but they've kept it to non-exotic methods, shall we say. Behind the magnetic door here is, as I said, a good size heads area. So wet room, little sink space, and a really good rail there, because that'll be super useful for hanging up your wet weather gear, life jackets, that sort of thing, in a nice wet space where they can dry out. If that makes any sense at all, a wet space where it can dry out. Anyway, everyone will know that a big hanging rail where you can hang kit is pretty essential in this type of boat. Small toilet itself, you can sit here, you've got a roving tap for your shower, and there is access into the huge cockpit locker through there as well. But it is seated headroom only in here. And that leaves the engine access, which I can't do one-handed, so I'm going to lift it and show you. It is quite tight on here at the moment, but they've made that a little bit easier on future models, I'm told. So steps lift up to sort of horizontal to give access under there. And there's your starter battery, a little Yamaha 30, is it? I'll check that, put it in the specs. Anyway, you can see you can get at the essential systems, your impeller, check your oil, belt, that sort of thing. I mean, there aren't any further access. I mean, you can get your head in around that, but I guess getting at things like gearbox oil and oil filter down around the back there a little bit harder to do. And the other thing I want to show you here is the size of this starboard cockpit locker. This is going to be a real boon for cruising. You'll be able to fit your dinghy in here, and an asymmetric Geneco spare sail in here as well, no problem. Let me climbing down in here and show you how much space there is. So that's the access panel from the heads. There's your water filter from the engine, nicely mounted out of there. And you've got a 33 litre waste tank and waste pump there on that bulkhead. And then an access, there's your fuel tank. And then really shore power if you want it. This is the third access into the steering gear area. I know it's only a little hatch, But again, I think if you were, this boat doesn't have an autopilot, so if you were fitting one, which I think most people would, I guess you'd want to put it next to one of these access panels so you could get at it easily enough. But there's your Jaffa steering gear running from this starboard rudder to the quadrant. And then in terms of build, it's Beneteau and Seascape really strive to make it simpler to build, to keep the boat building not exotic, shall we say. So the 36 uses a lot of moulded parts. This is, yes, it's foam cord, but it's glass fibre. It's a glass fibre built boat with a polyester deck, again cord, and a vinyl ester hull, and it's just very, very good engineering involved in it as well. But you know, it's still plywood bulkheads, GRP liners, and it's just built to a very, very strict weight. You know, the total boat weight's 3.1 tons, I think. I'll put it in the specs at the end. But 35% of that in the cast iron keel, and by keeping it to that weight, to the designed weight that Sam Maynard wanted it, means you get the sailing thrills, the easy planing that we got. So in terms of deck layout, again, probably seen it before from the boat show tour, but it's a 30-footer. It's a nice, simple, easy boat. Easy in design and layout, really. So starting from aft, you've got this swim platform. It is a cruising yacht. So you've got a swim platform with a boarding ladder which stores in the cockpit locker, and that is just on a bolt there. Undo that, drop the swim platform down. What I did like to see is it's got a triple guardrail here, so even though it's an open transom, a lot of yachts only go with a double guardrail, and that's nice there because you can really lean back on that, which you'll need to do when you're getting weight aft and sending it downwind. And there's your rudder stocks on both sides, with deep twin rudders slung right aft. Little gas locker on the starboard port aft side. Looking the wrong way. And there's your cascade system for the backstay, so just really easy to pull up on that and depower. And then on the starboard quarter locker, that is access, as I said before, into the steering gear down below that, but they've put a bag in here so that you can put, you know, extra gear in there without it sinking into the bilges. And then, yeah, as I said, what you see is what you get, really. It's easy to understand, easy to sail. Tiller steering with an extension. I wonder if you could, if those that aren't going down the autopilot route, you know, just get a little clip for that tiller there to centralise the tiller when you're working sheets, if you need to go forward. As I say, there is the bridle option for that main sheet, which goes onto those rope purchases there, and there's the, sorry about the shadows, nice evening light here, there's the main sheet block and cam cleat system for that, if you're not going for the traveller system. Personally, I'd go for this German-led main sheet on the traveller, full control of it here while you're sat there helming. There's your traveller, uncleat, power on, easy to do sheeting and tiller in hand. And you'll see, I mean, it's not an overly beamy boat, but it's a good cockpit space. Yes, you have to live with at heeling over quite a lot, and you rely on those, and you end up even sort of sitting outside of this top guardrail because it does heel. And there, unless you're tall, it's going to be quite a big space between those benches. You can get a removable table, which would help with your bracing as well, because there's, you see, shallow backrest, not really much protection for that, or comfort in that. But these work well, actually. They're just on deadbolt sliders here, so easy put out again, but they don't go anywhere. They don't like deck cushions that fall over as soon as you go onto heel. So nothing on that side, deep cockpit locker on the starboard side. And I think those going, that do want to go short-handed would need to figure out a system. Obviously, I'll be using autopilot, but for leading your Genoa sheets potentially back to that winch there. Maybe Seascape at Beneteau have already done that. Otherwise, you're on to conventional coach roof winches for all your running rigging and those Genoa sheets. The other thing I think you need, it really is, you can see this rope bin on the port side, but nothing really on the starboard side yet, probably because of this cockpit locker. Now they're nicely coiled at the moment, but you want to keep that area free as a sort of backrest to be able to sit in the cockpit. So maybe putting one down here might be a solution, because it's just a shame to dump them all in the interior. Keeping the cockpit tidy helps keep cruising easy as well. And then you've got, as you see, your clutches for your running rigging, but those cleats here on a purchase system for the thimbles of the Genoa sheets, which run through those thimbles back here, so you can let that off, ease the sheeting angle of them, and as we showed earlier, probably saw it, hopefully saw it in the video, we rigged up a little out-haul system on this one just to bring those sheet angles out there by hooking them onto the bottom of the shroud base. So when you want to depower the Genoa, you can do that. But otherwise, yeah, you can bring it nicely inboard for pointing upwind. Otherwise on deck, yeah, not too much to point out. As I think I mentioned before, it's a Z-Spars 2 spreader rig. It's nice and bendy, good to depower it. This one has the optional mast instrument readouts there from Garmin, and that's the reason why there's no hatch in the saloon for daylight, because that's your solar power pack, so a flexible panel going on this raised coach roof area. Non-slips all good, big hatch forward, and then yeah, just a little anchor locker in here for a bit of chain or rope in this case. And you can have, this one's got the roller, the anchor roller embedded in the bowsprit, which makes total sense. You can have a racing one without that bow roller in there, and that's got a Dyneema bobstay on there. See, a little bit rather than a solid one. And then in terms of speeds, we were going upwind in the sort of 8 to 12 knot true winds, going upwind at typically 6.3 to 6.5 knots at sort of 45 degrees true. Then with the masthead spinnaker up, we didn't stop planing in an hour of sailing, hour of planing really. And that's again similar true wind speeds, that say 10 to 12 knots true on average, 8.5 knots hull releases, and we sat at between 8.5 to 9.5 knots all day long. Get another couple of knots and she's up to double figures, so 10.5 knots. Did it, smashed it, sent it. What a cracking yacht. Oh, I was really looking forward to doing this. I'm glad it delivered. The first 30, they promised a lot when they announced it nearly a year ago. €100,000 planing cruiser, fast, affordable planing sailing. Not racing, not anything else. They delivered on it. And you have to sail the boat to realise it. There's a lot of the comments were mixed on the first video I did about it. And, get it out of your mindset about going IRC racing, that sort of thing. I haven't even asked about handicaps, because I don't think that's what the boat is for. It's not why they've designed it, it's not why they've built it. Seascape, and I do believe that, I don't think that Beneteau could have done this without Seascape. So they're Slovenian sports boat experts, and that partnership has delivered, because this brings that planing fun and easy sailing. I know I probably sound repetitive, but it does it, and it's delivered it on the price. It's a good looking yacht as well, I think. Sam Manard's done a lovely job with the design. It's spacious enough for family cruising, and it costs €100,000. So the boat we're on, the boat we just sailed, first boat, cost all in, so €16,000 pack on that, and €7,000 in extra sales. So €123,000 ex-tax. I'll put the pricing, I'll put the specs at the end. And that is, I know it's still a lot of money, but in this day and age, I don't think anything's coming close to that for the fun that it delivers for a new yacht. I hope you enjoyed getting on board and sailing it with me. See you next time.
Mm-hmm.